sure has been a very long time since I made a video, but I am back. And before I get started, in case you didn't see the little video I put up a couple of days ago, I have actually got a website now for this, so the link is in the description below this video and also in the about me blurb on my channel, so you can find it there. But let's get right into the video. Today, as you will have already seen, we are making tube socks. Now I make two types of socks, a sort of beginner's version and a slightly more complicated version. Today it's the beginner's version, very easy, there's no short rows or anything like that to worry about, very simple even for a beginner knitter. So what you are going to, oh, this is what they look like when they are finished, and you probably saw me modelling the other pair in the other colour at the beginning. So what you're going to need is one of the smaller looms. Now this is the Nifty Knitter loom, 24 pegs, but if you have one you can also use this one, which is the Knit UK loom. This has 22 pegs, makes a very slightly smaller sock, just very slightly. So you can use that one if you want to, and obviously the pegs are smaller, so the stitches are smaller, so you'll need loom. We're going to use this one. Yarn, obviously this is 50% wool, 50% acrylic, suitable for 5mm crochet hooks, so it's perfect for this. Scissors, your knitting tool obviously, and a 5mm crochet hook. So let's get started. First thing we're going to do is to make a drawstring cast on, and this will be for the toe of our sock. So what you want to do is make your slip knot, attach it to anchor peg there. Okay, and now what we're going to do is zigzag in between all these pegs. This is peg 1, this is peg 24. I always have peg 24 as the one directly above the anchor peg. This is peg 1. So we're going to zigzag in and out. So we're going to go behind peg 1 and then in front of peg 2, behind peg 3, in front of peg 4, behind. So you're zigzagging in and out all the way back round to the end. So when you get back round to peg 24, you've now got, which way do I go? So you go behind peg 1 again, like that. I know it seems a bit strange, don't question it. And we're going to go in front of our pegs now, so we're going to flat knit these off, and the ones we're going to knit are obviously the ones that have already got the loop on. So you're basically going to knit off every other peg all the way around. Just hold this over, don't pull it too tight, just gently hold it in place and knit off all of the pegs that have a loop on. I'm sorry if this is going a bit blurry. I don't know why this is going in and out of focus today. It's annoying, but there we go. So just knit off all the ones that have got loops on. Okay, and that is our cast on done. We're back to peg 24, and this time we are going to take the working yarn in front of peg 1. Alright, and we're ready now to start knitting the body of the sock. That's the cast on, it's done. That makes the toe. Now we're going to make the body of the sock, part 2. And this is just going to be U-wrap, and we're going to U-wrap for 80 rows. And I forgot at the beginning to say to you, get a row counter, or a bit of paper and make tally marks, or if you have the written pattern you can actually just tick off the boxes that I've put on there as you go along. So all we're going to do for this is U-wrap. So we're going to go across peg 1 and just ignore that for the moment and go to peg 2, U-wrap, which basically just means make this little U shape around the peg like that. Knit off, peg 3, knit off, peg 4, and that is it basically. That is it for 80 rows. Now that seems like a lot, but I promise you they fit very nicely. So you're just going to keep going round and round and round the loom for 80 rows, and then you will be ready to make the cuff section of the socks, and that's literally it. See you back at the cuff. Alrighty, so we've done our 80 rows now. Just do these last couple of stitches here. 24. Now we're ready to start on the cuff of the sock, which is going to be 5 rows of rib stitch, and the pattern that we're going to use is 2 knit and 2 purl and 2 knit and 2 purl all the way around. And now if you opted to use the Knit UK loom, that only has 22 pegs, and the knit 2 knit 2 purl pattern doesn't work, because what you end up with at the end is 2 knit and then you start off with 2 knit again, so you'd end up with 4 knits in a row. So if you're using the Knit UK loom, I suggest that you just do 1 knit 1 purl, the sort of traditional rib stitch. But we're using this this Nifty Knitter loom, so we're going to do 2 knit and 2 purl. So peg 1, knit, peg 2, knit, and then we come to peg 3 and we're going to purl peg 3. So to purl, you take your working yarn to the front of the loom, insert your knitting hook through the loop that's already there, scoop up a new loop there, see, take the old one off and pop the new one on and pull. So the next one, peg 4, same thing, purl, hook underneath the loop. Ah, this peg's going to come out, isn't it? Hold it in, grab your working yarn and make a new loop, remove the old loop and put the new loop on. So that's 2 knit and 2 purl. Now we're back to knit again. So the U-wrap, which is the one you already know, another one, 2 knit, back to purls. Take your yarn in front of the peg, scoop up, remove the old loop and put the new one on. Pull. Again, one more time, below the loop, scoop up a new one, take the old loop off and put the new one on, and then knit again, 2 knit, and then we're back to purl. And do use your row counter so you don't get messed up there, or if you have the written pattern for this, I've put some little boxes which you can just tick off to keep track of what row you're on. So you're going to do 5 rows of that, 2 knit, 2 purl, all the way around, 5 rows, and then we'll be ready to cast off. Right, so finish the rib stitch. Here we can see the 2 knit, 2 purl, 2 knit pattern all the way around. Put away the knitting tool and grab a 5mm crochet hook. And my ball of yarn has just rolled away. Excuse me. Right, so to cast off, we're going to use crochet method, and we're going to do a chain 2 in between each peg. Now I've tried this with chain 1 and it was a little bit too tight, so we're going to do chain 2 in between each peg. So let me show you how to do this. So start at the peg 1, or the last, sorry, peg 24, where your working yarn currently is, the last peg. Grab the loop that's on there and slip it onto your crochet hook. Now don't worry about tightening this up too much. You don't actually want it to be too tight, because this just keeps the top of the sock nice and sort of flexible, easy to get your foot in. Go to peg 1, grab the loop off there. Be careful that you don't pull off the pegs, the loops next to it. Slip that onto your crochet hook. So you've now got 2 loops. Pull this one through the first one. Okay. Then wrap the working yarn around your hook and pull through the loop, and wrap it again and pull through the loop. That's our chain 2. Then we move on to peg 3. Do the same thing, grab the loop off of peg 3, pop it on your hook, pull through, wrap, pull through, wrap, pull through. That's our chain 2. Just remember to do that chain 2 in between each peg. So you take the loop off the peg, pop it on your hook, pull through the loop that's already there, and the pegs come out again. This peg is the bane of my life. Right, chain 2. Okay, move on to the next one, remove the loop, pop it on your hook, pull through, chain 2, and you're going to do that all the way around. Take the loop off the peg, pop it on your hook, pull through the loop that's already there, and chain 2 all the way around until you get to this last loop, and I will meet you back there and we will fasten off. Okay, so we're down to our last peg now that's got a loop on it. So as before, we're going to take that off, slip that through there, remove, untangle all this from the loop, get rid of that. Now, what you notice is that this is where your peg 24 was, and this is where peg 1 was, and you've got this kind of gap here. So what you need to do is crochet this together to sort of pull the whole thing. So you go over to where you had your first sort of chain 2 between the pegs, and slip your, okay, yarn over and pull through, and you've basically joined that together now. You've pulled those 2 pieces together, and we're going to cut our yarn, leave a little tail for weaving in there, pull through again, and there we have it. Now what we're going to do now is, before we do the toe section, we're just going to stretch out all our stitches. You tend to do this with U-wrap, it just brings everything together nicely. There you go. Looks very long, but it actually, you know, fits nicely. So we're going to take our yarn needle now and thread up, and we're going to just weave this through to the inside just to hide these stitches. So any which way really, just pass it through. Some of these stitches just to weave in the ends. There we go. Cut that off. Yeah. So that's our cuff done. You can see our nice little rib stitch around the top there. Now we've got the other end, and this is where you had your drawstring cast on, if you remember. So what we're going to do first of all is we're going to flip this in the other way, like that. Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to pull this in, but we're not going to pull it all the way because I don't want this completely bunched up look, which is what you sometimes get with the drawstring cast on. We're just going to pull it part of the way in, and then we're going to over sew the leftover bits. See, we want it like this one I've already done here. You see, it's kind of flat, it's not all bunched up like this, it's flat. So we're going to start pulling on this gently and just pull this in, sort of, you know, you can fiddle around with this and put it in a fair bit and then fiddle, just fiddle. Spread these out a bit until, you know, it's come in a bit like that. See, we've pulled the end of the toe in, but it's not completely pulled in. That's how you want it. Thread up. When you come to sew this together, what you want to do is make sure that you catch underneath these loops, alright, otherwise you're going to leave holes, and then sort of go to the opposite side and find the matching loops and just over sew, and then move along, find the next slot there, and through that stitch there. So you're basically just going from one side to the other, matching up those little loops and giving it a good tug like that, just over sewing this thing together, that's all. On one side, wow, what's and there we go, to the other, and go all the way along until you get to this end, and then weave in your ends and fasten off, and you're done. So we've got to the other end. I'm just going to show you how I do this. What I do when I've reached the end here, I knot it off, and then I take my needle and I sort of go back. Oh, this can be a bit tight. Go back through like the first few stitches here, pull that off, and snip the end, and there it is. It's all sewn up. And you just stick it back in the other way. Right corners, and there you go. It's all nicely sewn up at the end. One sock finished. So I hope you enjoyed this project. Go ahead and make the next one. Obviously you need a pair of socks. And yes, I shall see you on the next video. Have a great day. See ya.